privilege for me to introduce to you our Honorable Guest of Honor, Father E. Abraham, S.J., Director, XLRI. As you know, sir is the Director of XLRI and Professor of Organizational Behavior. Earlier, he was the Director of XIMB. He also worked as Joint Director of Academy of HRD and the President of Association of Indian Management Schools. Sir has professional affiliation to a number of organizations at the national as well as international level. He is on the board of many management institutes like AIB, XIME, MCIM, NIT, AIMS, National HRD Network, XAMI, and IAJBS. His areas of interest include leadership, institution building, organizational climate, culture, and change. Sir has a rich experience of over 32 years in the field of education. And Sir is the director of the same B school from where he did his PGD in Personal Management and Industrial Relations. Prior to pursuing his PGD at XLRI, he studied sociology at Hindu College, University of Delhi. He also did his BA in Philosophy and Theology from Gyandeep Vidyapeeth, Pune. Sir did his PhD in Psychology, HRD from Gujarat University. And this is not the first time that he's leading XLRI. He was also the director of this prestigious institute from 1989 to 94. He later joined XIMB, where he served as a director from 2000 to 2007. Since 2008, Sir is director of XLRI, his alma mater. Sir has authored several research papers, some of which are HRD practices in Indian industries, HRD climate in Indian organizations, HRD climate in banks. He was conferred with a Lifetime Achievement Award by National HRD Network during the second day of its national conference in Gurgaon on 2nd December 2010. The award to Father Abraham was in recognition of his excellence in HRD and his several contributions to the subject of HR management. Sir, I would now invite you to the podium. Okay.
The mecca of management is XLRI. Management, probably there is always somebody say from Calcutta it started, but management as a science, management as a curriculum, as a subject for teaching formally. To the best of my knowledge, I always thought and feel that it is XLRI. Started as a Savior Labor Relation Institute for Tisco Jamshedpur. I think they were collaborating. So first they started for the industry, training center, or like that. That is what my understanding is. So Sir has come for a conference here, and it was very kind of him to come and see us. It's a great blessing for us as B schools. The mecca of management coming and gracing all of us is a great honor. It's a ये जो है ये बहुत बड़ा आशीर्वाद है. Sir, we, the faculties, the board of directors, and the student community extend you a very warm welcome, sir, and we are very grateful to you for your august presence. Floor is all yours, sir.
Dr. Colonel Balaji sir, faculty, colleagues, and my dear students, I am very happy that I am speaking third this morning, because what I am going to say is quite linked with what you have heard before and what Sam Petroda ended he's going to say he's going to talk about leadership. So I will talk about leadership before him. The topic that I would talk about is leadership for this century, 21st century. What are some of the qualities, or what makes this 21st century leaders somewhat different, maybe more of the same, but what are the qualifications of these leaders? Let me start by asking you, how do you build a frog? How do you build a frog? Frog, Do you study the croak, the prodigious leap, or the hyperbolic eyes? You? No, you study the pond. How does one know what kind of leaders that are needed for this century? Do you look at the traits, or you look at the skills, or you look at the competencies? No, you start with studying the pond. You study the environment. What is the environment of tomorrow, or already today? What will it look like? As we have heard Sam, there are three converging forces that will reshape the environment of today and tomorrow. One you have heard enough of times, called globalization. The second one is constant and often discontinuous change. And third, a revolution in infotech. You heard that very well today. I don't have to talk about it much. Now, as I say, the global village has become a reality. Financial markets already electronically transfer trillions of dollars a day, crossing borders as they please. Today's global business is open to all comers, not just the largest firms or most advanced nation. We live in a world of accelerated change and choice, dislocation and discontinuity. And there are more freedom and choice in the world today, and definitely more confusion. The only thing one can be certain about tomorrow is that it will be different from today. So this 21st century leader must learn to live with the unfamiliar, the uncertain, and the unpredictable. The world has grown economically interdependent. I don't have to tell you this. You are the children, what we call the digital children, What makes this possible is a revolution in infotech. Every one of you have a mobile phone, you text and all this. So it's very, you are so at ease with it. Our generation is not. I have to ask my niece sometimes to teach me how to do this, how to do that. The other day she fixed the WhatsApp on this phone of mine and so on. So it's they who, your generation, that's very good at this. From electronic mailboxes to video conferences, which you have seen very well today, infotech is redirecting the flow of information and creating the template for global organization unrestrained by shackles of time, distance, and departmental persuasion. This freedom of infotech provides the speed, the agility, and flexibility demanded in a highly competitive global market. It also alters the very nature of managerial authority. The drill of command and control is giving way to bonds of trust and support. Vertical structures are being replaced by the lateral, informal, and inherently horizontal essence of a networked organization. Managers used to dealing with people on the basis of their position in a chain of command will soon find themselves navigating a complex organizational web of interdependent people and interwoven parts. Now, what I have described is environment of today and tomorrow. Now, if this is the organizational environment of today and tomorrow, what kind of leadership do we need? I see successful leaders performing three critical roles, leadership roles. First one is a visionary leadership. Second one is empowering leadership. And the third one is team leadership. The first task that will face a leader in this century is to help the organization and its members develop a sense of value, meaning, and purpose, if none exists, or clarify it if there is one. They must be value-driven and performance-oriented. They should lead people to do things the right way and to do the right thing. Today's leaders should be able to get on their hands and knees and be prepared to do what they ask others do. So future leaders will have to be people with a clear vision. And I think you have a very live example sitting right here on the stage, Colonel Dr. Balaji, who had a vision for this institute. And that vision has come into reality today, and that's the reason why 800 of you are sitting in this hall. So, vision describes an ideal future end state, but it also tells people where they and the organizations are headed, and defines a set of principles that will govern how to get there. The shared vision inspires leaders and those they lead. In implementing the vision, leaders accept the reality that they do not have all the answers. Here I'd like to share with you what the vision statement XLRI has. As Sir Balaji said, we established in 1949. That makes us the oldest B school. We started very small. We started in a hotel room first, then in another school building, then we went to Loyola School, our own school. Then only in 1962, when Professor Philip was there, that was the time they moved into a new campus. Again, started very small. Now we have a sprawling campus, about 40 acres. And we have built infrastructure to so many people will envy that infrastructure of ours. But it started the vision that people had at that time. And the first vision statement says passion for academic excellence. The second one says uncompromising human values. We heard what are the kind of values that we go by. Values of ethics, integrity, very important for us. In fact, our logo, at the bottom of the logo, it says excellence and integrity. That's what we go by. Sensitive social conscience. We like to create in our students because it's important to have that social conscience built right from the day one. Because the real Bharat, you must have heard this before, Bharat is out there. It is not in corporate boardrooms. So when you become managers, has the ability to do things, you should not forget the real people of India, 70% of the people of India. You have to do something. So developing a certain sensitive social conscience. So what we do with all our students, we get about 480 students joining every year. We send them to villages. We send them to villages for 3 days. They live there. And our villages, that said, are not very secure, safe villages, you know. You thought about Maoist problems. But boys and girls live 3 days in that village, are eating their food just to experience. It always, we do that in the first year, first term. Weekends they go, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And it has changed outlook of our students and sensitized them to be more conscious of the less privileged people of this country. The second leadership role that we look at is empowerment. Now, empower in its simplest form is delegation. You delegate, sharing of decision-making power with others. This is easily achieved if people are competent. I have a competent person, I can delegate that work, and I'm sure that he or she will do a good job of it. If that is not the case, you have the duty to train that person to achieve that competence, then delegate, support that person. The other problem that we find, many organizations are crippled with the cancer of bureaucracy. With people caught up in non-value added activities. The primary concerns revolves around maintaining a position or moving up a layer in management, not value creation. Leaders are expected to make things happen either on their own or through others. Thus, the future leaders must be generous in their delegation of authority and responsibility. And the last, before that, but there is also more to empowerment than just delegating decision-making authority. The essence of empowerment is a recognition of dignity and worth of all people in the organization. You should remember that when you are in charge. Empowerment is the recognition of the dignity and worth of all the people in the organization. Leaders have to look at their employees as people, not warm bodies who perform organizational tasks. They're people. One of their primary concerns should be creating a work environment that in some way makes their employees people who better can contribute to work, home, and community. It goes for a corporate organization, it goes for education, any organization. The last is the leader of the future will need to possess one more characteristic. They will have to be master of the art of forming and managing teams. Tomorrow's best-selling ideas will not come from individual heroes. They will be the product of teams that subsume individual aspirations and objectives towards the achievement for a greater organization goal. In fact, I tell my students that what we teach in the class comprises of about 40% of the learning. 60% of the learning happens outside classroom through the group work that you do, a lot of project work, what you do, it happens there. So it's very important to learn, that's how you learn to work in teams from day one when you join a B school like this. So very important that that habit is developed, that you are able to manage teams. Future leaders will have to master teamwork. They will have to understand how to work with and through others, because no one person can possibly master all divergent source of information required to make a good decision. The very diversity of teams composed of individuals with different talents becomes a competitive advantage. You must have heard about Dave Ulrich, leader. I like his one quote that I will like to end my talk with. He believes that the future leaders will be known less for what they say and more for what they deliver. So we hear a lot of things about ideas, even these ideas we heard this morning and now. But then how do we get that into practice? Less by their title and position, and more by their expertise and competence. Less by what they control, and more by what they shape. Less by the goals they set, more by the mindsets they build, and both for great personal credibility and exceptional organizational capabilities. And so, in effect, tomorrow's leaders, or today's, I'm talking about yourself. We heard of Professor Philip talking about becoming a manager. Now I'm talking about becoming a leader for this century. It has to be equal parts of visionary leadership, empowering leadership, and team leadership. I will end with a story which I narrated yesterday in the car when we were coming. This is a man who thought that he was a rat. And you heard this story? No? Huh? This man thought he was a rat. He had a real psychological problem. And so his friends were very worried. So they took him to the famous psychiatrist, and psychiatrist said, okay, I can cure him. He has to spend 1 month with me. So fine, he joined the clinic and started the therapy. Basically what he told him to say, auto-suggestion, I am not a rat, I am a man, I am not a rat, I am a man. Continuously he kept repeating to himself. So 1 week later he goes to the doctor and says, I am okay, doctor, I am not a rat, I am a man. So the doctor said, no, I am ready to go. Can I go home? He says, no, our agreement is 1 full month, you stay here. And so he stayed 1 month. And he felt very good. So I'm a man, he felt. And you are not a rat? No, I'm not a rat, I am a man. So he happily goes out of the clinic. Couple of minutes later, he just rushes back into the clinic. Flustered, shaken up. He says, doctor said, what happened? He says, there is a cat on the other side of the street. So he said, but you told me you are a man, you are not a rat. He says, I know that very well, but does the cat know? So the man has not changed. This is what happens when we go through all kinds of courses, all kinds of lectures, training programs, etc., etc. We can spend 2 years without any of these affecting us. It can just go right above us. But at least I do hope what you have heard this morning, there are some pearls of wisdom that you will be able to appropriate that into your own life, so that ultimately the self, as you said, is so important. We have to understand, develop that self to become very self-confident people and not selfish people. Thank you very much for your patient listening.